Hey guys, hold on here. I'm going to try to... Oop. Let's see. All right. Okay. Check. Oh. Where are we here? Oh boy. Check, test 1, 2. Okay, listen, I'm back. I wanted to finish this because I'm really motivated. Let me see here. Okay, so I missed something on the last, I think in the language of music number 1, I just missed those 3 things for being reasonable. the 6 in the 6 virtues of a musician, of a great musician, the 6 virtues are being the 6 R's, right? Ready, relevant, reasonable, rational, responsible, and righteous. On reasonable, I divided all of the melodic development devices into 3 areas. You have all those development devices like augmentation, diminution, repetition, sequence, all these things. Most of the classical musicians know this, and then the jazz musicians know it as well. Hold on a sec. So I divided all those into 3 categories. You can either repeat, add, or delete. A sequence is just repeating in a different place, a pitch place, a different intervallic place, right? Augmentation, I believe that was adding notes either rhythmically or intervallically, and diminution is to subtract. So it's really only 3 categories, I believe. I think it simplifies these melodic development devices very well if you just know that you can either repeat, add, or delete, and then let your intuition, and I've tried to practice all those devices, and I'm going to organize them and make them a more thorough list, and then just have them in those 3 big categories, and then practice them every day like that. So that's very helpful. So I missed that point before, and then I want to say 2 more things, and then I want to bring my mom in to sing All of Me with me, and we're going to break it down and create, God willing, a work of art. Let me check and make sure I'm on. You guys there? Oh, great. Excellent. All right, guys. Hold on a second. Let me get back in there. Okay. All right, now this is going to be fascinating for you musicians. Everyone will appreciate it, but my musician colleague, buddies, boy, I don't think you've ever heard anyone sum it up like this. This is, and I take no credit for it. It's all Hashem. He just gave me these ideas. I just received the wisdom. You know, you got to think. When you think, it's Hashem's in our heads. I mean, we're connected to Him. So that's a whole other talk. But okay, so I compared music to a language. It's a language, right? It's the language of pitch. These 12 pitches. Now let's really get detailed about this. Then I broke down language into its parts. So with any language, verbal or maybe non-verbal too, maybe the sign languages have this. I don't know if they're the same. I've looked at them a little bit. I don't know if it's structured exactly the same, but let's just focus on verbal languages. Let's say English, right? So you have letters, syllables, words, phrases, sentences. Then you've got paragraphs, chapters, sections, books, texts, and volumes, right? And those are the structure, the elements of language, right? So you have, let's say you have letters. So, okay, now letters, in most of the language, I believe you have consonants and vowels, right? So in music, what a starting point. I'm getting tingles just thinking about this, but here are the 12, in the Western harmony, here are the 12 letters which are consonants. Those are all the consonants, right? Now, what's a vowel? A vowel, because you have space and you have time, right? So the time element the pulse that goes by and the subdivisions of those pulses, of those pulsations, those make the vowels, I believe. This is my theory. You tell me if you agree. I think this is on the money. So let's say I have, and you have a start note and a goal note, right? And then you have what we musicians call the voice leading, the note in between the start note and or notes in between the start note and the goal note. That voice leading are the vowels. So let's say I want to get from this consonant to this consonant, right? And I have it's in a space of 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, right? So I can go any way I want. Well, let's try it. I can do whatever I want. I go up to usually a 10th when I practice. So now, I also developed this little exercise I will share, I guess. I took all the contexts, the chordal context, this is what gives the consonant and vowel combination meaning. So let's say I have, I got a C major 7, right? So now I want to play. Now if let's just look at the chord for a second. I've never really articulated this to anybody. I mean, I've talked about it to myself in my own head and, just figured out exercises for it. But I'll show you an exercise I developed. So here's a C major 7. On the C major 7, you have chord tones, chord tones, extensions, and non-chord tones. And each set of those notes, there are only 12 notes, right? Because as we said, there are only 12 notes in the Western chromatic scale. So there are only these 12 notes on any chord. Now, let's say I'm taught, and I agree, because I think it has what to do with and this is why I should have taken physics in high school, but it has what to do with the harmonic, the overtone series. I can't really present that to you right now, the overtone series, but I think it's the foundation for why these chords are present in life, right? So we have a major 7 chord, we have a dominant 7 chord, we have a minor 7 chord. They're 4-note chords, right? Each chord has 4 notes to them. Then you have half diminished, and then you have fully diminished. And I think that's it. Now, some of my musician colleagues will say, hey man, what about the modal chords? you got this kind of a voicing, right? But that voicing really is just, okay, so let's say there's a major 7 chord. You also have major 7 plus 5, or major 7 sharp 11. So those voicings, there are a few extra chords there as part of but there are 5 basic chord qualities, 5 basic 7th chord qualities, meaning they have 4 notes in them, right? Of course, you have triads, major and minor. I also want to bring up a concept which I didn't write down, but it's very, very important, I think. And again, this is just my view on music and everything I've learned. I think that music should have an iconic tonic. That's what I call it. Most of my favorite albums, which one of my friends asked me to list out my favorite albums, every song has like an iconic tonic. It's a good, strong tonal center. I'm not a big fan of ambiguous music. You know, sometimes you have these tunes. Maybe they're like mood pieces or whatnot. I don't know. Sometimes they have iconic tonics and I'm okay with them, but sometimes they're so ambiguous that the chord, the song itself, its melody, if it even has a lyric to it, it's so ambiguous that my mind doesn't want to latch onto it. It takes nothing away from the performance. I don't remember anything. I want to go to a performance and remember what they just played. my best concerts that I've ever gone to, I'm singing the song out to the car. I heard the guy play one. I'm singing it back to the guy. I can't stop singing it because it's so inside me. It was such a memorable piece because there was such an iconic tonic, I call it, either major or minor. You know, you got these tunes like to me, that's memorable. That makes sense, and then it builds from there. Sometimes people try to be too cool for school, you know. They try to, hey man, you know, they put the hat on, they long hair, and they think they're, you know, they take it to another place, and I don't know. It loses something for me, and I think, I mean, I'm a student of human nature. I'm starting to be a rabbi. I study how people think and what they like, and as a musician, all the more so, I have to be sensitive to people. I think it loses a crowd. People don't like that. It's understated. It's I don't want to say understated. It's an unstated feeling that people have, and I think, to be honest, not to be so strong about it, but I think it's ruining the music business. I think specifically it ruins jazz because people don't like jazz because it sounds like a bunch of random, aimless rambling all over the place. My mother always says to me, "Did you like that?" And I said, "Not really." You know, and she, you know, we go to a concert, and I said, "It's just rambling, aimless rambling," and she knows it too. And then you know, trying to impress it on other people in my family. You know, these realizations. So here you got this major iconic tonic, then you got a minor iconic tonic. It makes sense. Doesn't that just linger in you? I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated. I don't think music has to be so complex. I think the simpler the better, and I think it's more meaningful. Look, certain things can have complexity to them and still have meaning, but there's got to be that iconic tonic. These are my unspoken rules that I keep in the back of my head. I'm expressing them. I hope it helps people. I hope I'm challenging you to deny it. I mean, if you don't think it's true, prove to me otherwise. I'm all ears. I'd like to hear it. Open my mind up to what I'm missing, if you think I'm missing something. And then I find a lot of the people who are so into the ambiguous music never mastered the iconic tonic. They can't play right in. They can't seem to make two sentences be cohesive and connect. It's like they start out good. You know, we're in the car, we're listening to a jazz station, and they're playing something, and the soloist starts to say something meaningfully, like almost, it's always the first few notes. It's like, he's going to say something profound, and it's going to be meaningful and logical. And then the next phrase comes in, and he don't know what to play next because he hasn't mastered those melodic development devices. We're going to get to that in a second. And then he just has to go to where his fingers feel comfortable. And you don't want to you want your head to guide, this is my opinion, you want your head to guide the fingers, not the fingers go aimlessly off into a distance and the head's just trying to sit back on a lounge chair and try to keep everything in some type of perspective, because usually it doesn't happen. And usually by the second sentence I can tell if someone's, you know, a thoughtful improviser. So we're talking about improvising too. You know, there are three skills to a language. There's reading, there's writing, reading, and speaking, right? And I think it's in that order. You should be able to write a good piece, a good solo, a good development that makes sense. Then you should be able to read it. And when you're reading it, then you want to speak it through your instrument. So it's those three skills, basically, we musicians try to master. All right, so let's say I have these. I'm going to show you an exercise for for all the chord qualities, I go through all the chord tones, extensions, and non-chord tones, and I put them in like a swing feel so I can kind of memorize them. I forgot how I did this. So you got chord tones, C, E, G, B, these are the chord tones. Extensions, the 9, the plus 11, the 13. And then these are the non-chord tones. That's when people want to play outside the chord changes, which sometimes, again, they try to be so hip and too cool for school. And they put things in, they want to force it outside when it should be like salt and pepper. It's like, it's not supposed to be, it separates the men from the boys. You know, the boys are so fascinated by the outside. Oh, that's so hip. It's like someone always putting flat 5 substitutions on something, you know. All right, fine, but it's if you do it subtly, it makes a lot more sense. You don't have to put so much weight on it, and you know, it shows like a lack of subtlety and sensitivity. So, I'm just trying to convey those types of awarenesses. They're important too. Okay, so I'm just going to run through them, and you musicians will figure it out. But I just said what it is. It's chord tones, extensions, non-chord tones. Non-chord tones. And then I do that in 12 keys. But then here, I'll take you through the 5 chord qualities just in the key of C. How's that? And then and those are the 5 chord qualities with all their chord tones, extensions, and non-chord tones. I would do that in 12 keys, maybe sometimes 2 keys a day. Okay, so that's that. Now, so once you know that you have chord tones, extensions, and non-chord tones, so then I created this exercise to, I'll mention one other teacher. He taught me this on purpose, but it was by, there's no accidents in life, but I was up on the 2nd floor of the Foster Building at University of Miami. I was coming from somewhere, and Randall Dollahan was guitar player, teacher, was in his office. I came out, and I don't know what possessed me. I was thinking about voice leading. I said, Randall, how do you voice lead? Do you have any rules on that? You know, because we have rules that we learn in school in arranging. I remember one of my teachers taught me there are low interval limits. You don't want to arrange things too far down. And remember that, because when we get to when my mom comes in here and we start arranging this piece, I'll talk about those considerations of arranging. You know, now this is the orchestra, and I have to arrange, and I have her range and where not to be, so that I expose her vocal notes so that she feels free, and I put a frame around her lyric and her melody. So you got to put the right frame around the beautiful piece that she's going to sing. You know, you don't take a Rembrandt and stick it in a shabby frame. You know, you got to give her a beautiful frame. But what was I saying? I got off topic here. I was trying to say that, let's see. Let me check and make sure I'm on. Hold on. You guys there? Yeah, all right. All right, stay with me. Okay, so we got these chord tones, extensions, and non-chord tones. So he said you could voice lead from any note to any note. Now, it's such a simple thing to say, but I was in the right place in my life to hear that sentence come from that man who really had no reason ever to talk to me, because I wasn't a guitar student. I was a piano student, and he was like, you know, a very fine guitarist, and he was the guitar student, the guitar teacher, and I guess it was my only opportunity to ever say 2 words to him, right? So, and it was the most profound interaction, I think one of the most profound I ever had, because then it opened my eyes to the fact that we can voice lead to any note, so the syllables can be anything we want. And it's such a, I don't know why it would be something I have to even think about. It should be assumed, but for some reason, I guess because I was thinking low interval limits and, oh, must be rules. Are there any rules that I don't know about? And then from that, I came up with this exercise. I voice lead to all the chord tones in half steps, whole steps, minor thirds, major thirds. I'm not going to go through the whole thing now, but I created an exercise like that for all 5 chord qualities, and I do that in all 12 keys. And then you don't have to play licks. In school, they used to teach us play these licks. I can't even do them anymore. You know, some Charlie Parker Bird, little common vocabulary that's used, but it demeans, I think, it demeans the language, because that's like me always saying, you know, whenever someone's going to say something to me, I'll just say, all right, you know, that Matthew McConaughey little, all right, right? I mean, it's like, that's what it's, I always make the parallel to like English, because it's my first language, and I try to figure, does it make sense in English? And then I transfer it to music, and if it don't make sense, then that's usually the case, and then I have to think through it. So the idea is to know all the chord tones, extensions, and non-chord tones in all the 5 chord qualities in all 12 keys, and then create logical, meaningful things that make sense. So I will play, let me just play a little solo here on, I guess, a blues, or I don't know, okay. I think, a cohesive, I'm trying to speak. I don't even really think about it anymore. I did, when I was in high school and college, I guess while all my colleagues were mastering all the vocabulary, I was trying to master my melodic sense. And I was trying to trust what sounds right to me, what makes sense. You know, even in English, when I speak English, I try to use words that are not highfalutin, and they're not, you know, low-level words, I guess. I try to speak to mankind in terms that they understand, with facial expression and eye contact, and you take somebody in and you reach their heart. That's what I think music is trying to do. I'm trying to reach your heart. So I don't want to be all over the place and rambling aimlessly and playing a lot of notes. Problem is, when you practice all those notes, it's good to master all those notes. I notice sometimes when people master all the vocabulary, if they don't have a good melodic sense, then they're just prone to, you know, just ramble. It's like the guy who plays... He's playing something meaningful for the first few notes. I know, we all are trained to do that. It's the first thing that our teachers teach us, is try to say something meaningful. So they start, but they don't know what to do after that. And I got so frustrated, I said, I'm going to ponder what you do after that, which I'm going to give you right now. Okay. All right, so I just went over the letters and syllables, and from that you build words, phrases, and sentences. And let me say one thing, though. Let's say I want to play the blues again, but I want to make 3 4-bar sentences, right? So I'm going to try to elongate my lines. I could play long lines if I had to. So let's see. Sorry. All right, the thing is, if I think through the bar line, I just keep going until I hit 4 bars, right? And that will be one sentence. Let me try again. Let's see. I'm on the right track. I have to probably sit with it more. That probably wasn't my best examples of that, but you know, I guess I'm also afraid sometimes to play long lines for fear that I will somehow end up rambling aimlessly, and that's why I'd rather always play less, and I get accused of not playing long enough lines, and it gives me a bad street cred, I guess, you know. But it doesn't mean I can't. It's just I think I'm trying, all this time I wanted to explain myself so maybe I'm understood a little better. I'm trying to focus so much on the iconic tonic and the meaning, and trying to, you know, keep everything cohesive and building in building blocks so that everything makes sense. Let me check one more time. All right, guys, you there? Hold on. All right. Okay. Now, you know, reading music, a lot of classical players are such great readers. They read a lot of stuff. They read a lot of notes, and they're 10 notes at a time. There's a lot of stuff there, and they have to balance it, and they're taught that, and they work on that, and it's very, very good. Writing, I guess, would be the next thing that's another skill that's very important. Speaking is very hard, I think. You got to get really comfortable with the vocabulary to make sense. Not just comfortable with the vocabulary, but to make sense with the vocabulary. All right, so I just did sentences, which includes phrases, and you can hear like the phraseology. If I'm not playing all 8th notes, you know, and I stop a little bit, so that might be a little pause within the sentence, like a phrase, like maybe you know, you could say, and in English you have a noun phrase, an adverbial phrase, an adjective phrase, you know, so you could think of it like that. I haven't gotten into it yet to ponder it so completely. Maybe you guys have some ideas. That's why, again, I'm doing this whole thing, but to get your input as well. So I did up to sentences. Then when you might, I can explain further on all the bigger groupings. You know, then you have sentences and paragraphs. A paragraph might be a whole, like an A section of a tune, right? Then a chapter might be just one chorus. A section might be 3 choruses or something like that. A book would be considered, say, you know, like maybe one arrangement or whatever, or just one song, you know, an arrangement of one song. Or I'm not being so definite with these groupings, but I'm just trying to give you an idea. Then a text might be like, say 3 songs in a medley or something. And then a volume might be a whole concert of about, you know, 3 medleys or 5 medleys or whatever, and some solo feature songs. And that volume could be a concert. And then that concert has a purpose, and the purpose should always be to fulfill the purpose of life. So I couldn't say that before, you know, but that's how I think of it. And I was mentioning about songs, how songs should describe the reality, and I feel that a lot of the music of today, most if not all, doesn't really speak about the reality. Now, I play Jewish music, Orthodox Jewish music, and I play, I would call, I guess you'd say Gentile music. So there's Jewish music, Gentile music. In Jewish music, we have various styles, Israeli styles and whatnot, and gypsy, klezmer styles, Freilach music, and things like that. I'm being a little vague on those categories right now, just because I didn't want to really talk about that. But and then in the secular music, or the Gentile music, you have continental American, music of the continents. Then you have just specifically American music, because I come from here, so I've divided it up like that. I have to know all the American tunes because I live here. That's my profession. Then there's continental American, jazz, classical, and miscellaneous. Those are my categories. So Jewish music, and then Gentile music, which has those 5 groups. And that's how I think about it, because those are the jobs I play. So that's why I organize it like that. There's also a halacha, Jewish law in Jewish music, that we're really not supposed to sing psukim, sentences from the Torah, in a sing-songy way. So when I first came to Jewish music, I learned that halacha and that Jewish law, and I was taken aback. I didn't know, how am I going to make a living, if I can't play that music, because most of the songs are that, So my Rav gave me a heter, a permission to do it, and then once I was going to start my own band and try to do the songs in not a sing-songy way, but Hashem never let me get that going. So, but I'm just saying it because I just want you to know where I stand on the music. Ideally, if all 8 billion people on the planet were fulfilling the purpose of life properly, if we were earning the life of the next world by fulfilling 7 obligations if someone's not Jewish, and 613 obligations if someone is Jewish, and we were all doing that, we would probably be moved, because we're so close to Hashem at that point, that we'd be moved to create new music that's more in reality, right? So, but we'll get to that point, God willing, with Hashem's help. Now I'm going to tell you the 6 soloing steps. You guys are going to love this, my musician friends, and then after this I will bring in my mom, and we will block out this all of me and make it, God willing, into a great arrangement and performance. And I'll show you how to do that, and then everything I've said will hopefully, God willing, make sense. You'll see I've broken it down to all of its parts, and then we're going to take all the parts and put it together and make a beautiful whole work of art. Okay, so now I got these 6 soloing steps. I've noticed this from being in many bands and soloing. I've come to 6 steps to maintain those 6 virtues of the 6 R's. Remember, ready, relevant, reasonable, rational, responsible, and righteous. So the first thing is get a motive. Take a motive from the actual piece. Okay, so I actually say it like this. Break off a piece of the piece, right? And take that motive. So if I'm playing, right, that's all of me. So I'll take a piece of that motive. Right? And now it's making sense, It's just simple stuff, and try to play it with good swing feel. So I'm thinking, doesn't it make sense to you? I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't know why that would not be the way to play all the time, And it could get more complex. Maybe on my 3rd or 4th chorus, I would probably try to, make it a little more intense. Well, I'll get to this. So the first step is break off a piece of the piece. And then what I did there, I actually demonstrated all the 6, basically. Then step number 2 is to use melodic development devices to make sense. Once you've made the opening statement, now that separates the men from the boys. What are you going to do next? Usually musicians, they don't know what to do next, and then, so they go to what they know, and they start playing a lot of notes. And just filling space with a lot of aimless rambling that to someone who's, you know, basically intelligent, that it doesn't pass. That's a very, you know, it bores them. You know, so I'm just telling you, and you know, there are many intelligent people, and I think we shouldn't underestimate our audience. I think we, even those who aren't so articulate are really very bright. They just might not know how to express themselves. That's debatable, I guess, to some, but I'm just saying, I always think of my audience as a bunch of Einsteins sitting there, you know, judging me. And, you know, I just have to give them what's most pleasing, which is what's most logical and what's most organically growing, right? Okay, so those melodic development devices, either repeat, add, or delete, right? Then step 3 is to control the tension and release. Now, I did some of it there, but let's try it again. Controlling tension, I'm not really mastering it right now. I'll skip that step. I'm trying my best to show, but you know, I guess I have to master it a little more. But okay, then step 4 is to climax. Make sure each sentence has its climax. Each sentence has its climax. Let's try that again. So where's the climax there? If it's a short sentence like that, so there's the climax, that G. Be the climax there, right? And then play each sentence with that kind of shape. It shows that you know what you're trying to say, right? When I'm speaking in English, I'm trying to lead to a climax, and that's the point, right? So shape your sentences. Some of the best players I've ever heard, they have shape to their sentences, okay? But the only way to have shape is to kind of see ahead to where you're going, or you could use your intuitive sense to that. You know, sometimes there's some tricks musicians can use. I'm giving you some tricks of the trade. Let's say, for instance, I don't know a song and I show up on a gig and the singer wants to play this song so badly, and I've kind of heard it before, but I don't really know the lyrics, and I'm not so familiar with the melody, but it's doable. I can get through it. So what's my trick? I use my ears. I hear what she or he is singing, and then I react to it. So I can actually still make a work of art, even without all the background research, which I feel we need to know on every single song. Here I'm able to, you know, get by with just my ears and still make a beautiful song. So I can get through a whole gig like that, just listening to them attentively. I don't take my eyes off. My teacher Maggio, he told me, you know, you don't take your eyes off the singer. You know, I just keep my eyes on them, and I'm watching them all the time. You'll see. I'll try to do that with my mom and show you. Okay, so you shape every sentence. Now, every sentence is part of a whole, and the whole has a conclusion. That's the major climax of the whole piece. This is what I think. So it's like the message of the whole piece. You took the part that once was my heart, so why not take all of me? You took I'm going to have my mom come in and I'll show you. But you took the part that once was my heart. You broke my heart. So facetiously, so why not take all of me? You did everything else to me, so why not take all of me? So that's, right? So I think that's the conclusion of the whole piece. It's this facetious little in-your-face line that says, you know, you busted my chops, you ruined my life, you left me all by myself, and why don't you take everything? You take the whole thing, because I got nothing left, right? So that's the conclusion. Now, after you've stated the conclusion the crowd goes nuts because they just heard what a moving piece, right? And usually crowds are trained to show their appreciation with applause. And then after that conclusion, now comes the next soloist. So now you want to give them something, another. It's polite and good etiquette. I was taught in college and in high school. You give the next soloist a piece of the piece. So you break off a motive and you give them something, or something from what you created. Now at that point, it might not have to be necessarily a piece of the piece. It could be a piece of what you played, because you took it somewhere else and developed it. So now the next soloist will build on what you did, and now it's growing into this. I mean, if everyone is wise and all the musicians are taking care of business and doing what they have to do and being responsible, then the piece grows into this awesome, well-built, structured, wise thing where all these players were feeding off each other, and that's a beautiful thing. I mean, and people pay to see that because that's awesome, right? It's teamwork. It's like a minion. It's like 10 guys praying together, 10 guys makes a minion, and together their prayers are heard by Hashem. It's like they work together as a team. There's when to stand, when to bow, when to say such and such. There's melody and accompaniment, and it all works together. Okay, so those are the 6 steps for soloing: motive, melodic development devices, tension and release, climax of each sentence, conclusion of the piece, and then you give a motive or some idea to the next soloist so that they can, do their business. Sometimes they can find what to play off of. You might not even have to give them anything because maybe you're so engrossed in the emotion of your own solo that they'll understand and they'll just take what they need. Or maybe if you don't give them anything, sometimes that could be good, because then maybe they can start with their own reaction to what you played, and that in itself is giving them something. Whatever, it gets deep and it's open to interpretation and anyone's thoughts and feelings. And all right, so now I'm going to bring my mom in. Ma, you there? Come on in there, honey mom. Let's show them what a work of art sounds like. God willing to help us. Hold on, let me move things around. You guys are there still? All right, good. Let me move this back so my mom can be seen. Okay. All right. Hold on. Here comes my mama. Ladies, oh ho ho! Here she comes. Here she comes, Miss America. Okay.
Should I sit here?
Yeah. How come your hands are all wet?
They're not wet.
No?
No.
Okay. All right, so you're right there, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me get you your mic. This is your mic, right? Turn that on for a second. Let me, hold on, I gotta get it on for you. Let's, try it.
Test it.
Turn it on. On?
Testing.
Wait
It's
a
not
minute.
on.
Go ahead.
Testing.
No. Hold on. Try it again. Try it.
Testing.
Well, huh? How can that be? No, forget that one. What are you doing? Is this one usually used?
I thought it was.
Hold on. You know what? Let me. Sorry, guys. This is what happens when you. Oh no, this is not that one. Check. Test 1. No. Try it again.
Testing.
You got it on?
Yeah.
Hold on. Good.
Testing. Testing 1, 2.
Please.
Testing 1, 2.
Again?
Testing 1, 2.
No. Oh man. Okay.
Testing 1, 2.
No.
Hi.
Check. Test. Check, test one. Hold it. Talk. Talk.
Hi.
It's on. Good?
Okay, yeah, it sounds like it's good now.
Go again. Keep going.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Hold on a second. Again?
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Again?
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
One more time.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's this one. Okay. All right. All right. You got enough volume?
I think so.
Talk into it.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, that's me. That's me. Check. Test 1, 2. Okay. All right. So here's now you say to me the lyrics.
It's very hard to say it.
Just say the lyrics. How would you say these lyrics?
I'm trying to tell. It's very difficult to say a song.
Why?
Well, it's easier to sing it.
Okay. Well, just recite the lyrics to me.
Okay.
All of me?
All of me.
Are you on? Come on.
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, it sounds like you're so low, I'm so loud.
All of me.
Yeah.
Why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you? Take my lips, my arms, my eyes. I want to lose them. Come on and take them all. I'll never use them.
Well, you changed the lyrics because that's your last chorus.
I know, exactly.
Take my lips, I want to lose them.
I want to
Take
lose
my
them.
arms, I'll never use them.
Right. I just said that.
Go ahead.
Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on, dear, without you? You took the part that once was my heart.
Right.
So why not take all of me?
All right, hold on. Let me just make sure we're on here and everybody. You guys can see all this? Okay. All right, good. All right, so you just recited the lyrics, right?
Right.
Now.
Don't ask me to do it backwards.
Now, let's figure out, okay, so we know the issue is, what's the issue of this? It's probably after breakup. That's what I wrote here. It's after someone broke up with somebody, right?
Could be.
And what's the message? I miss you, but sarcastically, desperately, you left me high and dry. You might as well take all of me because, right?
Right.
All right, so now let's pick. So that's the issue, the message. We need the mood. Now, what kind of mood do you think would be appropriate for this song?
Well, rather sad.
Sad, so fast or slow? Or medium?
Well, I would like it fast.
Why would you do it fast if
Because
we always have this debate all the
Yeah, I
time.
know, because I don't like to sing slow.
Hold on. Check, 1, 2, test, 1, 2. Check, can you hear me? I don't know why this always has a problem here. Go ahead, say.
Sure. Testing 1, 2. You're right, it's not as testing.
Okay, let me give you this other one. Drums. Check, test, 1, 2. Check, test. Check. I know what this is leading to. Hold on a second. Check. Check, test, 1, 2. Check. Alright, I guess I'm going to have to do what I don't want to do, but... Alright. I'm sorry. I don't want to give you this mic because
I know.
we got the virus in
Right,
there.
but that is a good mic.
It is
It's
a very
okay,
good
don't
mic.
give it to me.
Yeah?
I'd rather not.
Alright, so what tempo? Let's try it real slow first. I've always had this vision of doing this slowly and see how it comes out, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Even the piano's a little too loud, huh? Okay, so now my introduction that I've always used, I want to convey the first line of the song. So I want the word all. So I figured the best way to give all is to play a very big chord that uses all the notes. So any musician would know what I'm trying to do, and I think even the layman would understand. So I go, and I just play the of me, right? So all of me. And now I'm foreshadowing the rest of the song. Now this note right here I put in there because the real melody, if you know, it's why not take all of me. It's not why not, it's why not take all of me. So I put that note in there to remind the singer and also to foreshadow it. So there's a method to my madness here. Now I want to expose the melody.
Why not take all of me? Can't you see?
Now why did I do that? Because can't you see? It's like almost she's trying to tell him, you know, can't you see? I'm no good without you. So it's like almost like one of those Charlie Brown thing. Go ahead. Can't you see?
Can't you see? I'm no good without you.
I could stop there and not play anything. It's almost like without you. Go ahead. Now lips might be closer together. I made them too far apart, so maybe I can go. Right? Maybe that sounds more like lips. Take my lips.
Take my lips. I want to lose them. Take my arms.
Okay, now take my arms. Take my arms. I need something some imagery to give the arms, to show the arms, and I want to use the least amount of notes possible to help build this arrangement. This is my orchestra. I know it's a little hard because she's got that bad mic, and I got to play a little softer, and I'm trying to. But maybe we're drawing attention first to the accompaniment, and then I'll play the whole thing nice and soft underneath you, and it'll make sense. But so take my arms. There's only 2 arms, right? So I only need is 2 notes. Go ahead. Take my arms. They're close together, arms, right? Not that far apart. Where's your melody note? Take my arms. Sing it.
Take my arms.
I'll never use them.
I'll never use them.
Okay.
Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on, dear, without you?
I could stop right like there, right? Okay, and then
you took the part that once was my heart, so why not take all of me?
All right, let's try the whole thing from the top. Do you see where I'm going with this? Every sentence should have meaningful accompaniment, and first it starts with meaningful melody, lyric conveying, meaningful conveying of the lyric on its melody, and you could even do things with the melody to try to best convey that message. You know, I once sang, all of me, why not take all of me? Maybe if you could, you know, or to show the drama of that, you know, saying it twice. So these are the things that people do when they block out a lyric. My teacher Maggio, he would always have us block out lyrics like this, and I think it's very helpful and useful. All right, so let's try the whole thing from the top, and then I'll play a solo, and you come back and do your last chord. We'll do the whole thing. I won't stop. Okay, but be mindful. Let me double check that I'm on. But be mindful that this is our way of thinking. We're trying to, and I think this is the proper way to play, because we're being mindful of how to convey the message through the lyric and build to a climax. We're both sensitive to wanting to build this song to its climax, right? Right, Ma?
Yes.
We're building to a climax.
Oh,
Right? So we're building to a climax.
I had no idea.
And the audience, you're the audience. Hold on. I'm checking to make sure we're on. And you're the audience. I would hope that what's interesting to you is that you don't know what we're going to do, but you trust us that we're trying to convey the message of the lyric, right? You came to see us because you know that these lyrics are going to get conveyed, and arrangements will be made in such a way that will help convey them, but you don't know what we're going to do because we don't know what we're going to do. And the spontaneity of the whole thing is very attractive. Isn't that very attractive?
Yes.
Yes?
Why isn't the clock hanging up there?
I put the clock right on your right shoulder.
Oh, okay.
All right, ready?
All of me. Why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you? Take my lips, I want to lose them. Come on and take these arms, I'll never use them. Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on, dear, without you? Well, you took the part that once was my heart, so why not take all of me? Why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you? Take my lips, my arms, my eyes, I want to lose them. Come on and take them all. Come on and abuse them. Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry and cry. How can I go on, dear, without you? Well, you took the best, so why not take the rest? And why not take all of me, baby? Why not take all of me? Come and get it, baby.
And that's our piece. And hopefully it's a work of art. We try, and every time we try it should be a little different or whatever. I guess when I settle on an arrangement, well, even then probably we want some difference. I guess you could sing things a little differently here and there, but it's got to fit in with the arrangement. Somehow when you have arrangements, it locks things in. Anyway, so that's about it for tonight. I think I did. Thank you, Ma, and thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And that was my presentation of the language of music in 3 parts. I hope it was helpful, and if you have any points or comments or anything you want to say to enlighten me or whatever, let me know. All right, thank you so much. Hold on, let me just turn this off. Good night, guys.